glad you figured that out. Yeah, that's what I did. That was my solution.
Liz did it for team meeting.
Hey, Lutricia. Just to let you know, we'll be starting in just a couple minutes here. And for those of you online, if you want to go ahead and log into Canva, we'll be doing that in class today. So you do have a Canva account, just so you know. Canva is used to make designs like social media pieces, or in today's class, I'll show you how you can make a logo and an email signature for your brand. So this is canva.com. You do have an account with your KW email. Scott Leroy Marketing sets that up for you. So if you have any trouble logging in, you can go to your Scott Leroy Marketing setup to access your login. I'm happy to help you. Just get logged in here and we'll start class in 1 second. Perfect. So today's class, we are going over brand authority. So we are going to dive into how do we create our branding and how do we stand out in a saturated market? And also then how do we create an email signature, a logo, our social media covers, okay? The first part of class, however, we're going to figure out who our target audience is more clearly so that we can develop our brand authority. So if you could join me, pull up a new tab and go to kwbresources.com. I'm just going to guide you to the notes for today's class. So kwbresources.com, right? That's the internal resources site for KW agents. And if you could hover over tech resources on the top black toolbar, and then tech calendar, that's where all the notes are for today's class. Okay, so again, hover over tech resources on the KWB resources site and click on tech calendar. And then you can scroll down slightly or actually I think it's near the very bottom here for branding strategy. So scroll to the very bottom of that page and I'll shoot this out in the chat, the Zoom chat, so you guys have the notes as well. And just let me know if you have any trouble accessing that. 1 second. All right, so you should be able to click that from the chat if you're on Zoom, so you can grab that right away. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is actually based on the Millionaire Real Estate Agent podcast that's put on every week. I included a link to it. It's just like on Apple Podcasts, so if later on you want to listen to this, you absolutely can. So but I'm going to overview it. I took notes. I've listened to the podcast 3 times now, and I've taken notes for you guys. So this is going to overview everything you need to know to build a $1 million real estate brand, right? That's the theme of the podcast, all right? So what they did is they interviewed a branding coach to come in and explain the key things you need to know. And it's really just an equation, right? It's really just a calculation, how to build your brand, okay? And so we're going to talk through that a little bit today. So first of all, when you think of your branding, that can sound a little overwhelming, but really you just want to think of it as digitizing your reputation, right? Essentially, how do I let everyone know that I am in real estate and can provide this valuable service, right? To digitize your reputation. So the calculation for that, or the equation rather, are results times reach is your reputation. So as far as how people perceive you, right? So results being your personal character and the quality of your work, right? You could be the best realtor in the entire world, and if they don't know about you, they can't work with you, right? So that's where reach ends up being equally important as results, because you can be the best in the whole world and still not have anyone know about you if you don't have that reach, right? And we're going to talk about how to implement that. All right. So again, results times reach is your reputation. That's what we're trying to do. Digitize your reputation. All right. So now let's come on down to finding out, and I'm going to have you guys, if you have like notes for today's class that you want to open, or if you want to open another Google Doc on your computer, I want you to actually answer these questions. And some of these are a little challenging, so it doesn't have to be full answers now. But I want you to start thinking about this for your brand, okay? Because real estate is a very saturated industry, right? So it is essential that you find your uniqueness, all right? And you're not just an agent that helps anyone everywhere of any kind, right? Zeroing in on your who is what's going to help you create a successful brand authority, okay? So starting at the top, and we'll go into these questions in more detail, but this one was actually very challenging, and the answering in one word is important, okay? So you want to be able to answer in one word, what problem do you solve, okay? Like, for example, the problem that Dave Ramsey solves in one word is debt, right? The problem that you may solve as a real estate agent, right, is that wealth building, right? Is that security, right? Finding them a secure place. Is that investing, right? So that one word, and keep that in your head, because I'm going to take you through other questions that'll help you reframe and think about that in different ways. But being able to answer in one word, what problem do you solve? Okay. So I just want you to start thinking about that, and we'll go through it more. But number two, okay, then what are you passionate about? I would love for you guys to have a notebook and just jot down some ideas as I go through this. So for that one word answer, if you want to jot down, right, what problem do you solve? Is that security, finding a secure place for a family to come together? Is that wealth building, right? I don't know how to build wealth. Well, guess what? Real estate helps you build wealth, generational wealth, right? So writing down some ideas for those one worders, okay? Number two there, right? I want you to jot down some ideas here too. What are you passionate about, right? What fires you up? And not just like the sunshine and rainbows version, but like what makes you cry? What breaks your heart? Like on weekends, what do you spend time researching, like for fun? Is it that you research how to build wealth through real estate? Is it that you like to research getting more women into houses, right? Now more than ever, there's more women homeowners than ever before, right? Are you passionate about getting people in public work, like policemen and nurses and people and teachers who aren't really making the income to afford houses in the area, right? Are you passionate about making sure they have a place to live because they're creating such value, okay? All right, so think about what you're passionate about and what you have knowledge on, okay? And then that third question, kind of we touched on, is your who. So you get asked all the time in real estate what your big why is, okay? And that's important, but what's more important is identifying your who. Who do you serve, okay? And the answer is not everyone, anywhere, at all times, right? As you can see that next corny line, the more specific, the more terrific, okay? So as far as identifying your who, now that can be location based, right? So if your who is everyone moving to the Valentine area, great, that's a great who. So your who can be anywhere from first time home buyers to a certain area. And again, I'll give you more ideas on that. But based on what you're passionate about, jot down a couple ideas. I'm going to go quiet for a second and give you just a couple minutes to brainstorm those three questions. I want you to jot down good and bad answers, like even all ideas that come to your head. Even if you think it's a bad one, write it down, okay? I'm going to give you 2 minutes here to do that. Feel free to jump in with any questions as well, or if you have any good ideas to brainstorm. And based on these answers that you're putting down, I'm then going to show you how to implement this for the second half of class, right? Creating a social media calendar to zero in on this, creating a logo or an email signature to reach your brand, okay? So we're going to go through a couple more of these ideas and have you guys brainstorm some questions around your brand, and then we will actually apply it. Okay, let's talk about common mistakes people use when creating your brand. All right. Too many topics. That's probably one of the biggest ones, right? You see people go on, let's say, any platform, social platform, right? Online, and they talk about anything and everything, right? From dogs and, okay, yes, real estate's mixed in there, but also they're talking about, let's say, investing and flipping and growing their downline and buyers and sellers. And, right, you can see there's a lot of things you can talk about around real estate, right? But the idea is to zero in on one of those ideas and keep repeating that to help it sink in. And we'll go more into that. So the first mistake, too many topics, right? We're going to want to identify one, maybe two, three topics to really focus on in your brand strategy. Next mistake, too many audiences, right? Like I keep saying, we don't want to work for everyone, anywhere, everywhere. Yes, you would. Absolutely, you would. But if you want an effective brand strategy online, you have a specific who and a specific knowledge set, right? And I'll go more into that, how that works. And then lastly, I do like this one, too many platforms, right? When you come into real estate, you don't need to start on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Reels, Threads, all the different ones. Pick maybe two or three that work for you and focus on those platforms. Like, are you naturally on Instagram before you joined? Now, Facebook has the demographic of Facebook is really good. It's more boomer age, so they buy houses. And LinkedIn is another good one because it's corporate America. But yeah, you can see I like this line, the diluted focus equals diluted results, right? Okay, so this next part I really like. So I'm gonna have you answer these 4 questions on the second page here, third page here. All right, but what we're gonna be trying to identify in these under the yellow part here is how to find your uniqueness, right? Finding your one audience that you can serve and finding the one problem that we can solve for them. Okay, we're going to identify the one monetization stream that matters and the one core message to preach to those people over and over again. So this next visual I really, really like. So imagine that you have a giant wall, okay, and you have a sledgehammer. And if you take that sledgehammer and you hit the entire wall, right, just a little bit, right, you end up smashing the entire wall with a little depth, right? So that's the equivalent of if I was getting on my platform and talking about investing, buyers, sellers, first-time home buyers, flippers, right? All the different kinds, right? I'm smashing the entire wall with little depth, as opposed to hitting the same spot in the wall over and over until it gets deeper and deeper, and you can pull the whole wall down, okay? So that's where that one message that you're preaching to people over and over again, what you can help them with, if that's wealth building, if that's investing, if that's first-time home buyers, right? Preaching that same message over and over again will allow people to come to you with that specific need, and then you'll be able to help them with all of their real estate needs, okay? So let's figure out how we can establish this, and this is where I'd like you to pull out your paper again so we can figure out finding your 4 one things in your brand authority. So, right, your one thing, Gary Keller, that's a quote from him. So finding your 4 one things, okay? I want you to try to brainstorm the first question. Again, I know we did that a little bit. Problem you solve in 1 word. Okay, so maybe we have that answer on our sheet. Okay. So if the example is, let's say I help people find security, okay, in their house. Number 2, who do you serve that problem for in 1 sentence, right? So if I'm trying to help people find security, my answer might be, I'm specifically trying to zero in on families find security. Or like, okay, that's a nice and sunny one, but kind of on the darker side, could you be helping people who go through a divorce find security or lost a loved one, right? Have you gone through anything in that way in your life that you understand the transition, right? So that's zeroing in on the who. You'll see it really helps us find, right? Because if we're going to answer the who is a family, right, that we want to help find security, my content would be things to do around Charlotte, right? That's fun for families, as opposed to the who. If that who is someone who's going through a divorce, my content would probably want to focus on resources for that person, right? All right, and I'd like you to write down, how do you solve that problem in one sentence? Okay, and number 4, that's an important one possibly to start with. What is the one revenue stream that matters that everything else is subservient to? So meaning, is that listings for you? Right, you'll see agents, preaching about referrals. Okay, well, is that a main source of income for you? Probably not, right? So focusing your content on these lower levels of your income is not really worth it, right? What is worth it for you? Listings, right? That might be really worth it, especially with this whole NAR lawsuit, right? So figuring out what that one revenue stream, how you want to build your business, if that's investment properties or if that's listings, identifying that, okay? So I would like you to write this down. This is like what an elevator pitch does for you. And I'll show you how to use ChatGPT once we identify those 4 questions to create a little elevator pitch that you can easily tell people when you're standing in an elevator what it is you do, right? It's not that I just sell real estate. Yeah, who doesn't, right? Okay, not really, but you know what I mean. Instead, I am passionate about solving this problem for this person, for this set of people, right? And this is how I solve that problem, right? So I want you to brainstorm. I'm going to give you one example, and then I want you to brainstorm this for your business, writing down good and bad thoughts that you have. Like bad ideas are good too. All right, one problem I solve, okay, finding security, right? Who do I solve that problem for? I find that for people who lost a loved one. So they're now a one income, right, down, let's say, one of the parents, right? How do I solve that problem? I make sure I know the best resources for people who need a loan, who are now on one income, and all the best resources to find healing, right? If they went through a hardship, I help them find healing as well with the local therapist, things like that, okay? One more example, more location-based, okay? Let's say the problem I solve, in one word, wealth building. Who do I solve that problem for? People moving to Ballantyne. How do I solve that problem? I look for properties that, let's say, are low, have a good return on investment for them, right? So that's my specialty, is finding homes that are underpriced, so then people can build their wealth more quickly through it, okay? So look at those 4 questions. Maybe starting with 4, what's the one revenue stream that matters? Probably going to be something like listing or buyers, okay? And then I want you to just take a couple minutes here and brainstorm 1, 2, and 3, because that's going to be your elevator pitch. And we'll make that in ChatGPT. If you want to brainstorm any ideas that you have, good or bad, I'm here for that as well. Oh, sorry. Okay, and once you're done with that, feel free to keep brainstorming, but I am going to pull up ChatGPT, just so you guys know. I'll pull up those questions again. If you have not used ChatGPT before, it's my best friend. Essentially, it writes everything for you. So instead of you having to think about what's the best elevator pitch, or what's the best way to phrase this in a social media caption, this can do it for you. So I'm just going to sign in. So if you have, it's Chat GPT, okay? So Chat GPT. It should be any of the OpenAI ones. Okay, so in Chat GPT, you'll see how these questions will come really into handy, okay? So Chat GPT, so I'm going to take the questions that we just answered and apply it here and see if it'll make me a little elevator pitch, okay? All right, so I'm going to write in Chat GPT, act like a real estate agent. So that's important how you tell it to frame itself. Because right now it's just at its standard, it could be pretending to be a doctor or Martha Stewart, right? You need to tell it who to give you the information from what standpoint. So I'm always say, act like a real estate agent. You're telling it how to frame, act like a real estate agent, and give me an elevator pitch about my services that aim to help families. So that's my who. So first I'm going to tell it they aim to help. Who's my who? Family. Is that first responders, right? Is that first time home buyers, right? Investors, right? There's lots of content out there that's just, oh, I help everyone with real estate. I need you to zero in, right? So I help families. And now what's the problem I help them solve? I help families find security in their home. And what was that third question? Okay, and how do I do that, right? How do I help them find security? I would maybe help them find security in their home by finding or having knowledge on the safest neighborhoods and the most financially or the best returns on investment for a house and the best priced houses. Okay. So essentially what we're doing is telling it to act like a real estate agent and then answering the 3 questions that I just made you answer. So act like a real estate agent and give me an elevator pitch about my services that aim to help who? Hey, how's it going? All right, who are you aiming to help, right? And you can, if you want to copy mine, of course, it doesn't have to be word for word, but the idea is like telling it how to frame, give me an elevator pitch about my services that aim to help who? Families, first-time home buyers, people going through divorce, who? And what problem are you helping them solve? Okay, I'm helping them solve the problem of not feeling secure, okay? And how am I going to help them solve that problem? That's by having the knowledge of the safest neighborhoods and the best priced houses, right? So then you'll see it generate something like this, right? That it gives you a paragraph, and even if this isn't exactly how you want it to sound, first of all, it's just what we call like meat and taters, right? It's a draft that you can work off of. You can also do things like tell it to regenerate. So like, let's say I'm not crazy about those sentences, like the wording. First of all, of course, you're trying to get an idea of what you can say out loud in an elevator to a group of people, not read off of a piece of paper. So more ideas is the goal. But right, I could click this right here to regenerate the response. So I could get a different elevator pitch to see if I like it better, right? And what's cool is once I get this down, first of all, I might want to write that down if that's something I want to use. But then what would it look like if I then said, rewrite this as a social media post? Okay, and what it'll do is it'll put in emojis and hashtags and reformat it as a social media post, right? Right? This is so important, having your elevator pitch, because you'll see on like every platform you make, like on Facebook, on Google My Business page, it'll ask you what you do. What's your bio? What do you do? And guess what? Not everyone, but all realtors say they sell houses. That's not specific enough by any means, right? You need to get specific on who you help, what problem you help them solve, and how you help them solve that problem. Any questions? Does that make sense? Cool. Have you used ChatGPT before? Have we done that together? Nice. I love that, right? Okay, so now that we have those questions answered, let's take it to the next level. And we can have ChatGPT create a social media calendar and tell me what I should be posting that would be valuable to my target market, right? So I could write something like, give me a social media calendar for ideas to post to provide value to families looking to build security and wealth through their home. Okay, let's see what it does. Okay. So, right, essentially now what I did is I told it, right, act like a real estate agent, if that was the first question, and give me a social media calendar that would provide value to my who, right? My who. Provide value to your who and solving the problem, okay? And you can see it comes up with just, well, endless things, right? So we have week 1, right? Tip of the week, share a tip on choosing the safest neighborhoods, including key factors to consider and how they would find that information. Tuesday, market update. Post an update on current real estate market trends, focusing on family-friendly areas. Wednesday, home security advice. See how these all correlate to my problem of finding them security and wealth and building security in their home, right? So once you narrow down your who and that problem that you solve, then all your content can flow through those 2 ideas, okay? And we are going to implement this actually starting now, because we're going to now create some of this in Canva, okay? And then at the end, I'm going to just talk a little bit about creating videos and how you can further implement these ideas on your social media. Key takeaway, guys, is I want you to use this class to brainstorm these ideas. And then if you want to meet with me one-on-one, we can brainstorm this further and I can show you more in detail how to implement it. Because now I'm going to show you, we're going to go in Canva and actually create either a logo if you would like to, or an email signature banner. I'm going to start with, well, do you have an email signature banner or a logo? Okay, do you have a preference on which one we do first? Okay, well, if anyone online wants to do one of those first, feel free to jump in and let me know. I'll go ahead and pull up Canva. So if you want to pull up, or if you will, pull up Canva in another tab and log in. Okay. And we're going to use the search bar at the top. And if you're still logging in, no rush. I'll show you this again. Okay. But you'll see a search bar at the top here. And I want you to type in real estate logos. You're going to be so happy. There's just so many options, right? Now with the free account, you can only pick ones that do not have this crown right here. So that little crown on the corner of these pieces, that's only if you have the pro account. Just a heads up, that's like $12 a month. If you do want pro, I have a discount like KW, join forces with Canva, and you now get 20% off the pro version if you pay like for the entire year. So it ends up going from like $120 a year to like under 90 or like 90-ish. So if you do want pro, shoot me an email. I'm going to put my email in the chat so you guys have it, and I'll send you that link. 1 sec here. Okay, but your goal here is I want you to just scroll down and find a logo that kind of speaks to you and your who, okay? So now if, you know, your who was more investor focused versus homes and family focused, right? That might have a slightly different look, okay? So these are completely changeable, but I want you to scroll down and find one that kind of appeals to you and kind of just look at things. What do you like? Do you like logos that are in a circle here, right? Do you like more of a minimalist look? Do you like some pops of color? So take a minute. There's like 9 million options, which is wonderful, but overwhelming. So take a minute, just scroll through, and I want you to just find a logo that you like, even enough to show you how to edit it. And again, you're gonna have to pick one that does not have a crown. Let's see, I'll pick. No, it doesn't have to. And yeah, you can look up other logos too, but like, if you like ones that have a key or just the house on it. But we'll be able to like search for keys and totally change these. So depending on which one you pick. I'll go ahead and click on it and click on customize this template. Okay. So depending on which one you selected, right? First, we'll want to change out the verbiage on there. Okay. So let's say first I'll want to change out what is my DBA name, my doing business ad name. Now, if you haven't thought about that, right, that could be something like your last name properties. It can be like your last name homes. Just a heads up, technically in South Carolina, they don't let you market with real estate or realty as your team name because the consumers were getting confused between brokerages and just single agents. So if you do market in South Carolina, I might recommend using something like the word properties or homes if you want to keep this logo consistent in South Carolina as well. Okay, and maybe I'll name this JuLeah Properties. Okay, so I'm going to change out some of the words, right, in my logo. And now I can change really a lot of the elements. So I can add elements and colors. So first of all, to add elements. So there is like, let's say a roof. But if I click on elements on the left-hand side black toolbar, okay, so elements, and search elements, let's say instead I would like a key, right? So I can search in the word key. Or if you want to do house, you could type in the word house to see those. We'll do different options. And under graphics, so you'll see it says see all. I'll go ahead and click on that. And you can use any of the ones that don't have the crown, unless you upgrade to Pro, of course, and you can use any of them. But for example, like this one does not have a crown, so I could go ahead and click on it, and it'll pull it onto my design, just randomly in the middle. Okay. So now let's say I want to make this on the very bottom of my logo. So what I can do, if I click on what I just added, right, it highlights it in purple, and I can put my mouse in the corner on one of those dots to make it smaller. Okay. And I can help you with whatever you're working on. If I'm going a little too fast here, let me know. But I can then hover my mouse on this little arrow in a circle. So I could even twist this key and I can put it, let's say, on the bottom here. Okay. So just an idea. Just so you know, my favorite feature in here is this undo, or you can click like Control Z or Command Z. So if you make a mistake and randomly mess up your entire logo, you can just click undo or Control Z. Okay, some other things I might want to do is I might want to change the colors up, right? Pops of color perform really well, especially like with the branding. Like if you know PJ Kennedy, you probably know his color is green, right? Of course, a lot of agents use red and black, seeing as that's KWs. But if you want to like look up, I would recommend maybe even looking up what the colors mean, or if you have a certain color that draws to you, right? Like green means prosperity. Yellow means happiness. I would need to look up to know exactly, right? But then I can go ahead and I could change any of this. Or maybe I want to bring in some gold or silver to make this a little more luxury, right? So just an idea, I could also like type in up here, let's say gold house. Okay. And I could use any of the ones that again don't have the crown, which a lot of these look to have the crown. Trying to use ones for you guys that don't, right? But you can see as you scroll down, a lot of these have the crown, it looks like. I personally, I'm a little biased. I love the pro account, but of course, this is my whole job. So you definitely don't need it, but you can get a pro account, and then that would give you access to just unlimited logos and all the different templates. But one more thing I want to show you guys, or a couple more things, I'll let you work on it. But like, let's say I wanted a circle around my logo to make it pop more or bring it all together. So what I could do in that case, so I'll type in, same concept here. If I type in circle on the side or say gold circle, right? Whatever it is, I could go ahead and try them out, right? I can click on it to see if I like how it looks with my brand. I do sometimes like, though, either a circle around it or a square around it. I do find that it makes it like brings it all together. One more thing we haven't talked about, and feel free to pop in with questions, guys, but fonts we also have not talked about. So you can, of course, change the font completely on these. Now, when you're thinking about what font you want to select, so if I click on the words, I can then click the font boxes on the top left here. When you're thinking about the font, I want you to think about your brand here, right? Because look, like this, for example, Horizon, let's say, has a very different feel than a script, right? A script is going to have a more design or a more luxury feel versus a stronger font, right? Or a more classic font. And you can scroll through and look at fonts. I'll suggest some. I have favorites. But some fonts, like the Seasons, for example, is one of my favorites if you're going for a classic font, meaning like, some fonts have feet, like Times New Roman, like see how there's like feet on the bottom of the H and like the A and on the top of the L and bottom of the L. So, right, this kind of font is a more classic, which is great, especially if your target market is maybe people who are downsizing, right? That might be a better font to use, a classic font. So you can search in the fonts, like if I wanted a script or cursive, I could search one of those. So if I search cursive, the most popular, if you want to know the most popular fonts, Brittany is the most popular script. And mine's a little separated, so it looks funky. I'll show you like better what it looks like. Okay, so Brittany is probably the most popular font. Another one that's like Brittany that I really like is called Moontime. But again, this is more like script, right? So like handwriting kind of script. So if that's not really your thing, right? Even like cursive fonts, right, are different than script typically in the way that like a cursive font could be a little more like structured, right? Then a script is a little more like handwriting, the feel that you signed your name there, versus if you wanted a cursive, okay? Versus if you just wanted like a normal font, you can, click corporate, or you could type in, let's say, if I type in the word open, it should give you like Open Sans, and that's a popular one too. Questions on fonts? Okay. If you want my opinion as you're making a logo, feel free to like email me it or show me in class. I'm happy to help you guys. And like also, just so you guys know, we will help you do this in person too. So if Canva's not your thing, but you now know you could create a logo. Well, guess what? You can just come to kwbresources.com and you can click on I need tech help on the top right, and that'll make a 30-minute appointment with us. It's free, and we'll just make it with you, the logo, okay? And if you want us to just do it for you, we do have branding packages, especially if you are in the business for less than a year. We have an entire branding package for $75. So shoot us an email if either you want us to do it for you or sit down and do it with you for free. We're happy to. Okay. So if you don't have questions on the logo, I'm going to show you how you can download it. And of course, you can keep working on it. I'll show you how you'll get back here. But I do want to switch over and show you guys now how to make like an email signature banner that matches your Facebook cover photo and your social media covers, okay? So if you want to download this, and again, if you're still working on it, that's totally fine. But when you're ready, you click on share on the top right and then download. And then typically for a logo, if you want to jot this down, I typically download it as a PNG 2. So it defaults on 1. But if you want to, 2 is just a little bigger. And you can click on download. Okay. And then final step that you'll want to write down, in order to get your logo, like on all your KW technology, you just email support@scottlorrymarketing.com. And I'm putting this in the chat. So to have your logo added, and again, everything that Scott Lorry Marketing does for you is absolutely free, which is wonderful. There we go. Okay, so to add your new logo to your KW Tech, email support@scottlorrymarketing.com. They will need your KW command, login, and password. That's normal. If you want to include it in the first one, they'll be able to do it faster. Marketing. And they're a great company. That's where I worked for like the past 6 years before I started my JuLeah Designs here. So very great company. That's who does all of our KW Tech setup. So for new agents, when they join, right, their website, you included your website was already done, your app was already created. That's because Scott Lorry Marketing does all of that for our agents. And they can help you add things like a headshot. If you haven't gotten your headshot, that would be a huge thing for your branding as well. And I don't necessarily suggest going to get a $300 headshot if you are early on in your business. There's just not really a return on investment to that extent. Grab your iPhone, whatever, your smartphone, stand in a well-lit place and have someone take a photo of you, okay? And when you do, send it to support@scottlorrymarketing.com and they can update it everywhere for you. That'll probably be one of the biggest things. Like, honestly, if I Googled a realtor that I was going to work with and their photo wasn't anywhere, and like I had just gotten a phone call from them, I'd feel very uncomfortable working with them. Right? Just in a time where AI is everywhere, it just shows you are a real person. Okay, so now let's create an email signature banner. All right, and just so you guys know, you do get a plain one with Scott Lorry Marketing, so there's probably already one in your account. However, if we want it to match our personal brand, right? So let's say now I added some gold, so gold and black is what I'm going for, okay? So now I'm going to pull up a new tab. You want to leave your logo open. I'm going to go to just to the Canva homepage again so we can look for real estate email signature. So in the search bar in Canva, if you'd like to look up either, and if you already have an email signature, you can look up Facebook cover, because you'll want your email signature and your social covers to match, okay? Oops, sorry. So the biggest part of branding, guys, is that they could look essentially at your signs, at your email signatures and social media, and within seconds, right, their brain has already noticed that this is your brand because they see certain colors or certain shapes that you correlate to your brand. That's why we use one headshot everywhere. That's why we use one logo everywhere, because we need them to get that in their head that you correlate with these shapes in these colors. That's an effective brand strategy. Like my 5-year-old was driving into Blakeney, and he was like 3 at the time, and he was like, looked at the Target logo and said, that's Target. I mean, it's a logo, right? That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So real estate email signature, okay? You can scroll down again with the crown thing, right? Can't use ones with the crown. There's a bunch that are free. You can search by free ones now that I say that. Let me see how I do that again. Odd at least. Not sure, guys. I thought there was a way to search by the free ones, but I'm not seeing that. But if we scroll down, right, of course, you can eye over and see where the crown is, and we can totally update these, right? So if it's like a plain Jane one, we can add your new branding colors that we just came up with for your logo and see what we like, right? So scroll down, find one you like, and click on it. Again, if you find one you like, but it has a flower on it, and that's not very real estate-y, right? No worries, we can change that out, and I'll show you how. All right, so whichever template, let's click on customize this template. And I mean, honestly, having one of these email signature banners on your email immediately makes you look like a real estate professional and not just someone who dabbles in real estate, right? Okay, so first thing we'll do is we'll change out our information on it. So if you want to take a couple seconds here to just change like your name and your phone number, right? It's as easy as like double clicking to start typing. Just let me know if you have any questions about the functionality of Canva. I'm happy to help you with this. And just know too, you can come in and we can meet in person and do this. And totally up to you. If you do want the address on here, you could of course take that off, or you can put in our new address here. Which I think is 14045. Does that sound right? Valentine Corporate Park. Place. Of course, how I usually look, I mean, I just Googled KW Valentine real quick if you want to pull up the address.
JuLeah, it's Joanne.
Hey, Joanne, did I write it in wrong?
I no, no, I'm trying to follow you. I could not get to the real estate templates, the real estate email signature templates.
Okay, let's go back. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so I'm gonna go back, and if you want to pull up a new tab, and go to just canva.com again.
Oh, new tab. Okay.
Yeah, I would recommend it.
Okay. Um,
And then once canva.com loads, I would recommend just in the search bar here, type in real estate email signature.
okay. Okay, that's okay.
And then that bring it
Yeah, yeah. I guess I was trying to do it with the other graphic open. That's not correct.
Oh yeah, it was just our logo is up, so I'm thinking that's probably covering that tab.
Okay, great. Thank
But
you.
yeah, you can just scroll down now and try to
Okay,
eyeball over which ones you like that don't have the crown. You don't have pro.
great, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And then of course we click on the email signature and click on customize to pull that up. That's where I am here. All right, so first thing I'm doing, right, is I'm double clicking in the fields to edit that, right? So click to edit. All right, and I'll show you how we can adjust this. It's a little too big. Just one second here. All right, and if you're still filling that out, take your time. Okay, don't feel rushed at all. I'm just going to show you how to switch out your headshot, and I'll show this multiple times if you're still filling in your contact info. Okay, so the headshot. So how we add our headshot instead is on the left-hand side toolbar, there's an upload option. I'm going to click on upload. And then I'm going to click on upload files. Unless you already have your headshot in here, great, you can go ahead and select that. Or you can come over again to uploads, click upload file to pull in your headshot from your computer. Okay, and once you do that, okay, so once you have your headshot added in, you can then drag the headshot from the left-hand side, hold your mouse down, and drag it to where the headshot should go on the right-hand side and release your mouse. And if I do that, it'll put it in the frame that's already set up. And of course, I'll show you how to pull that down. But again, those steps are click and hold the headshot, drag to pull it over, okay? And put it over the circle and you'll see it switches it out when you release your mouse. Don't hesitate to let me know if you have questions. But how we now pull it down so that her head's not half chopped off is we double click on it. So when you double click on it, you see it like shows you the rest of the image, right? So then I can click in the center to pull that down. So again, how I fixed her headshot was I double clicked on it. When I do that, it shows me the entire image, like outside the frame as well. So I can pull that down or up. I can, of course, pull my headshot anywhere I want it to be. I can resize the address. So let's say if I want it just a little smaller so that it fits better, right? You can click and change the size of it up here. Typically for your role, like where it says real estate agent, for compliance, it typically needs to be this. So if you are north and south, it would say NC and SC. Okay, not slash, not NC/SC, because that means or technically. NC and SC. If you're just North Carolina, technically you need to have North Carolina, so the state you're licensed in. And then I would put in broker/realtor. Okay, and I changed the uppercase for a reason here because for compliance, just so you guys know, for like everywhere, anytime you type in the word realtor, it has to be in all caps, okay? And it has to have that trademark R, like the R at the end. So let me show you how to do that. Do you have a Mac? Yeah, Mac, awesome. So if you have a Mac, your life's super easy right now to put that trademark R. So there's an option key on the bottom left of your keyboard on Macs. So just option R will give you the little R symbol. That you can put next to the word realtor whenever you're ready to do that. Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, and then /realtor. Love the pink, by the way. And then hold option there, and then R. And see if it's a cute little R, right? If you don't have, so I'm looking for like that R, trademark R, the realtor R. If you don't have a Mac, the other option is, okay, so the other shortcut, if you have a like number pad on your keyboard, so it's only if you have a number pad, sorry, on the right hand side of your keyboard, you would hold Alt, and then on your number pad, 0174, release Alt, okay, and it gets that R. And I'll show you, if you don't have either of those, I'll show you, we can just copy and paste it from Google. But again, if you have a number pad specifically, you can hold down Alt on the bottom left of your computer, and then on the number pad, it's the number 0174. Release Alt, and you get the R. Okay. And what I'm going to do for you Zoomers, I'm going to put this in the chat, the R. So if you just want to come into the chat and grab that R. One more place that you can get it, it is an emoji, which I love. So like if you're ever writing on your phone, or like my keyboard allows me to put in emojis, right? Just so you know where that emoji is. So if you pull up your phone and want to know where the emoji is, just so you know, it's under the symbols icon right there. And then the realtor R is right there, just so you know. So I think you guys can see me online. So I'm going to try to show you my phone. I don't know if this is going to work, so bear with me. But if you go like to your texting and pull up like your emojis, right, with the little smiley face down here, where the realtor R lives in your emojis is, it's like the category that's second to the end towards the right hand side. It looks like symbols, so there's like 4 little symbols as the icon. Okay, and then the realtor R, you'll have to scroll to like past the blue buttons, like where the 1 2 3 4 in blue is, and the realtor R is right here, in case that helps. So it is in your emojis, and you could probably just Google where it is too if you have any trouble. Or of course, come see me. But again, for you Zoomers, I did put it in the chat, so you can just copy and paste that realtor R onto your email signature. And you'll need to do that anytime you write the word realtor. Again, it needs to be in all caps with that realtor R. Okay, so now I can, of course, change the fonts and the colors to more represent my logo. Okay, so looking at my logo in a different tab, I see I went with a key, a house, and gold and black. Okay, so whatever it is, look at your logo. Okay, and let's try to bring in that same vibe. So first of all, Flowers have nothing to do with real estate. I mean, unless you want to pull in a flowery brand and you have that in your logo, there's a place for it. However, in general, we might want to change that logo out. So I just clicked on the flower and pressed delete on my keyboard. That was a little fast. So anything you want to get rid of, just simply click and you can click delete. And then now I'm going to come back over to elements. So this is on the left-hand side, black toolbar, the elements. Right? And a couple things I could do is, first of all, it shows you your recently used. So if you did pull in a certain key, right, it would be right here. So these are my recently used. When you click on elements, recently used is at the top. Helpful, if we just made our logo, we can either click on the arrow here to see more or click see all. And let's say I might want to go ahead and bring in this key, right? Because that's what was on my logo, right? Now, I'll probably even want to bring in my logo onto here. We always need to show our business logo alongside. Yes, very great question. Let me tell you guys about the compliance now. So compliance-wise, and I'll show you where this is written down on KWB resources so you don't have to remember everything. But if I want to put my logo anywhere, right, I can have my own personal brand. Gary Keller recommends it, right? It's really recommended to not just use the KW Ballantyne logo and to lean into your own brand and branding colors. With that being said, compliance-wise, anywhere that you have your logo, you would also have to have the KW Ballantyne logo, okay? So let's take a look at how we would implement that on my email signature, because there are a couple things you'll need to do as far as making it in compliance, okay? And I'll show you, I'll go ahead and download my logo so you can see what it looks like when I put it on my email signature. And just a quick side tip, guys, anytime that you're saving something, right, I click download and it's giving me the option to save it to my computer. And when it downloads, you know, whatever default name is. Anytime you're saving something to your computer that you're going to put on the internet, always rename it to your name, real estate, because that's how Google Images gets images of you, right? You know, if you like Google image your name, like you search Google Images, how do those images get there? Well, if you put anything on Facebook or on your website that is like a photo like this, that is named like on your computer. So the file name is named your name. That's what Google Images is pulling that from. So anytime you save something from Canva, go through that extra step to rename it, because that will make the item show up on your Google Images. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. So now we also need to get the KW logos. And I'm going to show you guys how you can download all the logos and for KW Ballantyne in every color. Shoot, and I know I'm out of time here, so if you guys have 5 more minutes to show you how to get the KWB logo on, it might take 10. If not, schedule an appointment with me and I can help you finish up this and make it in compliance, because right now it's not in compliance, okay? All right, so what I need to do is download the KW logo, okay? I will show you how to get to it. You just have to do this one time and save it to your computer, and then it's there forever, okay? So if you can pull up a new tab, this is going to be a weird site that you don't go to ever because it's the old KW site. It's mykw.kw.com. I'll say that again. So this is the old KW platform, like before Command. And really, this is just where our logos are. So we're going to get it one time and you don't need to come back here. So it's mykw.kw.com. And that'll bring you to where you can log in. Same login as your Command account. So it might just automatically log you in. But again, that was mykw.kw.com. And when I sign in, okay, if you could click on marketing on the very top black toolbar. Yeah. Marketing on the top black toolbar. And then logos and branding. If I lose you, let me know. But I went to mykw.kw.com and clicked on marketing on the top black toolbar, and then logos and branding. And then scroll down on this page till you find the search bar. It's about halfway down. And we need to type in the 350. So type in 350 and it'll allow you to click on download, and that'll give you every color of the KW logos possible. So if I click on download, it'll download it to my computer. Now I would recommend putting that on your desktop because you'll need the KW logos, right? So now once you do this one time and save this on your desktop, well, then you'll always have all the KW logos right on your desktop. Do you guys want to see those steps again, or are you okay on that? Okay. And I can always email you these logos too. If you miss those steps, feel free to shoot me an email and I will send you those. Okay. So I'm switching tabs back to my email signature. Okay. Now, first thing you need to do, just a heads up, if you can pull up the files on your computer. So pull up your downloads, wherever you access your downloads on your files, on your computer. Oh, sorry, I told you to save it on your desktop. So desktop, because it zips it because it's so many logos. So meaning I need to come in here and just double click on it for my computer to unzip the file. So if you can, go locate it on your desktop and then just simply double click on it and it should unzip it for you. So you'll see 4 folders in there. And this has all the different colors of the logos, okay? I would recommend clicking on RGB. Okay, and then the logos, these are all the logos. So the JPEG and the PNG ones here, those will be your picture files. And what I can do, so you can do this in a couple different ways. Either I can drag and drop it into Canva to upload it. And hold on one sec. Or I can upload it from the side here, and it didn't like that. Let's see what it wants. Okay, so on the left-hand side, right, I can click on upload, right? That's how we got our headshot in, which is wonderful because we're going to do this one time, and then your KW logo will live in Canva, and you no longer have to go get it each time, okay? So I'll click on upload file. Theory, we can just go ahead and grab that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I have that logo in here. So then I can click on it to pull it onto my design. Okay. Now, anytime I add that in, of course, it's rather large and in charge. So I need to hover my mouse over the corners. So same process. It's good for you guys to practice, just resizing things, right? So now I can resize it to whatever size I want. Okay, and put it on the bottom right. There is one disclosure I need to put in. Okay, so hang tight. There's one disclosure you need to know about. All right, but let's say, and you don't have to do this part, of course, but let's say I want to also put my logo on here. No. Okay, so if you did download your logo, which I did, right, you can pull that in as well and align it maybe on top of this one right here, right? All right, but the one you do need for compliance, let me just as a final thing, and then I'll let you go. And then of course, feel free to come in and I'll help you with this. But for compliance, you need to add an extra disclosure, and I'm going to show you exactly where you find it, and we're going to bookmark it too, okay? So if you can go to a tab that has like a KW logo on it, we'll just use one of those tabs or a new tab, right? Or if you have KWB resources open, that's where we're going. kwbresources.com. Okay, this is something you will need regularly to stay in compliance. Office resources and then advertising guidelines. So again, if you want to jot that down, kwbresources.com. Hover over office resources, and it's that top option for the advertising guidelines, okay? Now we can bookmark this as well. so that you don't have to go through those steps. This password is capital B, lowercase AMC 350. And maybe an exclamation. Yep. Okay, so that's just so you guys know, capital B, lowercase AMC 350. Your computer should remember it after the first time, but what that stands for is B Ballantyne Area Market Center.
Well,
Yeah. Not me.
yeah, it was Raintree. I think you told me, you texted me that it's not available. Yeah,
Well, let me
that's
see.
okay. Yeah, that's all right. No, thank you for calling or and texting me earlier. I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 'cause she,
Okay. All right, guys. So, and then you see the advertising guidelines right here. Okay, so that we can save that. And let me again show you those steps, and then I'll show you how you can bookmark this as well. That option. So again, kwbresources.com. And then I hovered over office resources, advertising guidelines, right? And your computer should now remember that password, which was capital B, lowercase AMC 350. And then just click guidelines right here. Okay. So this is just any time that you're going to print advertising or create something like we did today. There are certain disclosures that you need, okay? Yours is in compliance as long as it has the KW logo, but the disclosures that it needs is just this: each office is independently owned and operated. So if you want to highlight and copy that, I'm going to show you one just other thing. So like when you're looking at this, right, it's categorized by the type of marketing. So business cards, flyers. You can actually, what I do is I do Control F or Command F if you're a Mac user. That'll bring up a search bar so I can search within this so I don't have to like scroll and find it. I mean, this is one of my favorite shortcuts. Control F or Command F makes it so you don't have to read an entire page to find the one piece of information you're looking for, right? You can do a simple Control F, or again, Mac users Command F, and you can search email signatures to find exactly, to make sure that you're in compliance, all right? So again, you see this disclosure here, that's the one we're gonna copy, and we're gonna make it just super small. Okay, so what you can do to add more text, you can either click the T button on your keyboard and it'll add a text box, or you can click on text on the left-hand side to add a text box. So one of two ways: either click T on your keyboard and it'll add a text box, or you can click on the text option on the left-hand side to add that text. Okay, and I'm gonna paste that disclosure in. Okay, but this is the most important part in my design mind, is making it as small as possible. So then I'm going to I can either resize it by hovering my mouse on the corners to like manually slide to resize it, or of course up here, you could resize the font. When I do this, I literally make it 2. Yes, font size 2, and put it right under the Keller Williams logo. And then you're in compliance. So for email signature, those are the two things you need: the KW Ballantyne logo and that disclosure. Each office is independently owned and operated. And now you have your email signature created. Questions on that? Of course, you could change the font at this point to match your logo. I would recommend that. I would recommend, if I were actually doing this, I would probably add some gold to mine, since I have gold in my actual logo, right? So this is where you want to think about your branding and make sure those fonts are consistent and the coloring is consistent if you actually want to build a brand authority. And with real estate being such a saturated industry, honestly, guys, this is very, very important. Right, so as your piece of homework, okay, I want you to play with, your signature, your logo, to kind of see if you have that finalized, all right? And then you can make a matching Facebook cover, okay? So if you have Pro, you can just resize this into a Facebook cover, but that's only Pro from what I've seen. So outside of that, you could just, go to canva.com and type in real estate Facebook cover, right? And do this again, kind of deal. But you would want that to be matching. So that would be your next piece of homework, creating that Facebook cover photo. Questions? All right, and once you're done with your email signature too, we can help you add it to your email, or if you just email it to Scott Lori Marketing, they can add it to your email too. Or if you come see us or Google it, that'll walk you through. And if you Google it, just search how to add an image as a Gmail signature, because it's an image is what it'll be. All right, guys. The last thing I'll say is remember you can book with us anytime by going to KWB Resources and I Need Tech Help on the top right. I would also suggest listening to the podcast that the first part of this class was based on, because I didn't get through everything. It was truly a life-changing, perception-changing branding podcast. So again, that I linked it for you on the notes. It's just right here at the top where it says click here to listen. And again, I'll send it to you in the chat if you are just on Zoom. So if you have any questions, email us, come see us. We're happy to help. All right, guys, hope this helps. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Please, yeah. Yes, no problem. Oops.